Good afternoon. Today we're going to go over the case for Advanced Automotive that is given at the end of Chapter 4. And of course, this will be something that you will be able to apply to your marketing research report that you or your group will be turning in. We're also going to go over some class participation questions to reinforce the concepts of Chapter 4. So let's start with class participation. So there's 4 types of test markets that are described: controlled, standard, electronic, and simulated. Who uses each type of those markets, test markets, and why would they use them? Also, what you want to do in your answer is consider the distribution system of the company wanting to do test marketing, and also consider the type of product being tested. And also the third factor would be the type of information you want to get. So go ahead, we'll spend about 15 minutes for you guys to research your answers on that. Then I'll go around and ask you what answers you got. Okay, very good. So standard test markets fit companies with fully developed distribution systems that are marketing convenience goods such as grocery products, personal care items, or over-the-counter drugs. This is a do-it-yourself approach, with the information need being primarily to track the test product's sales. Controlled test markets fit companies without fully developed distribution systems. The test market company establishes a retail structure during the test. Convenience goods are a good fit for this. There is more competitive sales information available because all brands are tracked, so the information needs are more specific as to which brand is gaining or losing during the test. Electronic test markets are limited to those companies testing products that are sold in the stores where the electronic tracking system is in place, grocery or drugstores primarily. Because the electronic test market customers are in a database, the information would profile the buyers versus non-buyers and provide market segmentation implications. And the simulated test market is suited to a new product where the innovation is tried and the repurchase rate estimated by some model. The distribution system may be non-existent, or the cost of other marketing variables needed in the test, such as training sales people to demonstrate it, or large-scale educational advertising campaign, would be prohibitive. There's an implicit evaluative process and adoption decision in the part of the consumer, and the outcome is the primary information that's needed. Okay, next, let's review independent variable, dependent variable, and causal statement for each of these examples. And I'll again come by and ask you for your responses. Okay, thank you. So this is a before and after design. The causal statement is going to have a pattern or a template that's like this. Manipulation or change in the independent variable caused this change in the measurement of a dependent variable. So in the first case, we would say the frequent cleaner plan, the independent variable, caused a $10,000 increase in sales, which is the dependent variable. And of course, that whole phrase is our control or our causal statement. Next, for the movie theaters, we might say that the independent variable adding parking spaces caused 300 tickets to be sold, a change in our measurement of the dependent variable sales. And of course, the causal statement is the parking spaces caused 300 tickets additional to be sold. And for the tires, we might say that the change in the independent variable, the addition of radial tires, caused Michelin to sell 200,000 more tires than usual, the dependent variable being sales. And of course, the causal statement is the addition of this independent variable, radials, caused Michelin to sell 200,000 more in sales. Okay. Next, let's read through case 4.2 at the end of chapter 4, then answer these questions and we'll go over them. Take 15 minutes and then we'll get back. Okay. So to deal with the first set of issues, determining how consumers feel about certain issues and how important these issues are to them and what terms they use to discuss these issues, what research design would you suggest and why? So at this point in the marketing research process, Nick should strongly consider using exploratory research. He's at the beginning of the process where he needs to gain background information, define terms, clarify the situation, and establish research priorities. He definitely should consult secondary resource sources as there is much written on the topics he's interested in: alternative fuels, gasoline prices, global warmings. Focus groups might also be useful as well. Next, let's consider the second paragraph in the case. What research design would we suggest to determine what attitudes are strongly associated with purchase intentions? And will these relationships vary across the country? And will they exist for definable market segments? So the critical issues are determining associations between attitudes and intentions, and investigating if these vary by marketing segment. We're especially interested in intentions to buy. So this is definitely the realm of descriptive research, requiring a cross-sectional survey using a representative sample of prospective automobile buyers. And then lastly, Nick Thomas's last question deals with determining how much of an increase in miles per gallon will be needed for consumers to have an equal preference for Zen models as those that are taking market share away from Zen today, and what design would we suggest? Well, the tip-off here is the use of require to buy phrase. It strongly infers cause and effect. So a causal research design is called for. The treatments can be the mile per gallon increases, such as 10%, 20%, 30%, and so on. And the dependent variables would be the preference for the new Zen models. Most likely a cross-sectional survey would be called for, but the approach is to find out how much of an increase would cause the preferences to rise to a certain level. Okay, any questions on that? All right.